Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Arsenal have submitted a bid worth £50 million for Noni Madueke of Chelsea, plus a full agreement between Spurs and West Ham for Mohamed Kudus, one of the best attacking midfield players in the league. There is no doubt about it. We're breaking down the stories. We're taking your calls this evening. We want to get your instant reactions, thoughts, and opinions on this. I'm posting the call-in link in the live chat right now. We want to jump into them very, very quickly indeed. But big breaking news whilst we were live on the air for Straight Facts, and we need to get you. We need to know what you think. We need to know what's going on here. Starting with Spurs. Look, it was a deal they really wanted. It is a deal they were really pushing for to get done. And David Ornstein, maybe about 10 minutes ago of our stream, put out the tweet, and I want to read it to you here. And it states that Tottenham Hotspur have reached a total agreement with West Ham United to sign Mohamed Kudus. The deal for the 24-year-old is worth in the region of £55 million. The medical is scheduled on Thursday ahead of the Ghana international joining Tottenham on a 6-year contract. So a fairly significant size contract as well. That is done. That is dusted. That is over the line. That will happen 110%. Instant reactions to that, people. Get your comments in now, whether you're watching the live show or whether you are watching the playback. And I think that's gutting news for Chelsea, because I know a lot of Chelsea fans were hoping and wishing and waiting and very much of the mindset of, you know what, if we get the Noni Madueke money, we could make this move. We could go in for him. Noni Madueke Kudus isn't going to happen now. That's almost an impossibility at this point. It can't happen because, Kudus can't happen because that is now a done deal for Tottenham. So I'm just updating that screen so you can see the valuation of the player on there as well. That won't happen. A few people here saying Chelsea rejected. Yeah, look, you know, it's definitely. I mean, Chelsea were offered the player. They offered to swap. They offered to swap players. They didn't offer the cash, so they didn't actually ever make an offer to West Ham that they liked or they agreed with to get the deal over the line. But it's clearly a player they wanted, and more importantly, a player that Chelsea fans wanted to kind of add to that front line moving forward. That right now, as it stands, looks like it will not happen. But the transfer window is malleable, to say the least, and things can change. That is the beauty of it. We're taking calls on Mohamed Kudus going into Tottenham live on the air tonight. This is your opportunity to have your say. And look, on Arsenal, I have to say, like, for me, this bid, and I'm just sharing the link here with a few different people. For me, this 50 million offer for Noni Madueke is a poor piece of business by Arsenal. I don't think he's good enough to really move the needle. It's a large amount of money that eats into the budget for other players. And I will stay true to what I've said before about my club, about Chelsea, about any team. I'm not going to yield on this. How much you spend is absolutely the business of the fans, because there's a limited budget. City are very wealthy. They have a limited budget. Real Madrid, huge club. Everybody has a limit to how much they can spend. And this deal for Madueke is probably going to soar above the £50 million mark. And whether that stops an Eze or Rodrygo come in, that remains to be seen. But for me, it's 20 to 30 million pound over the valuation of the player. And I understand that Berta has got a brilliant track record. I'm someone who's praised a lot of his previous work, and I think he's doing a lot of great business this summer. I'm not going to undo the things that I've said, but it's just too much money, in my humble opinion, for a player of Noni Madueke's level, what he's achieved, outputs, etc. And look, I don't think he's good as the Langer that's gone for 55 million. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Kudus, who's gone. And Chelsea fans agree because they wanted Kudus if he was sold. They know he's better, and he's gone for around 55 million. Equally, you're talking about only being 5, 6, 7 million cheaper than Mbeumo's and Cunha's. And I know they played different positions to him, especially Cunha, but he's not of that level. So I do think Arsenal are being crazy with that opening bid. Now, look, it doesn't mean this deal is going to happen 110%. Chelsea may not accept. They may not go any higher. They may pivot and look elsewhere. Anything is possible from this juncture, but it is not a good piece of business at all. Barry here says 100% Terry, not worth it. Crazy money. I think this is also annoying a lot of Arsenal fans because this is all on the backdrop of the situation with Gyökeres, which it has stalled. Doesn't mean it's over. I still think you're going to pick up Victor Gyökeres, but it's on the backdrop of the club haggling over 4 or 5 million, yet dropping 20 plus million above the valuation, or fans' valuation anyway, of Noni Madueke, where you just think, well, you don't even really need him. Eze's on a plate. Go and get it done. You've got Waneri. And I've always said, like, Noni Madueke is good. He's a good backup player. But I think you should be looking to pay 25 to 30 million. Absolute tip top. But I also understand Arsenal fans. And Arsenal fans will see this differently to me because of their disdain for Chelsea. And that is, Chelsea fans feel like they are... Arsenal fans, feel like they're helping Chelsea out of a hole. They're helping Chelsea to solve their financial fair play issues. And it's not like Noni... It's not like it's Caicedo you're buying, or Cucurella, or Palmer. You're not signing someone that is a level raiser, a needle mover, although you've got quite good left backs, to be fair, at Arsenal already, where I think Arsenal fans would go, do you know what? They're getting the cash. We're helping them out of a little hole. However, we're taking a real asset. You watch the Chelsea fans, and they're in celebratory mode over this deal going in this way. So from my point of view and perspective, I understand why Arsenal fans are angry. I understand why Arsenal fans are frustrated. And I understand why Arsenal fans are not in a good place when it comes to this deal. But that's why we want to hear from you. The link is in the live chat. If you want to phone in, if you want to have your say on the show right now, please feel free to. Flip Flop here says money laundering has to be. Look, I've long since believed that I still to this day, I still don't trust the money in football. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you see a player that, like, all those deals that were done last year for 20, 25 million for players that had academy players that hadn't kicked a ball, that still haven't kicked the ball for their new team. Has any money actually parted ways? Has any money actually been exchanged between the football clubs? I don't know. And that's not a dig. It's just a reality. I always go back to that Chelsea deal with David Luiz. It's a standout for me. Bought him for 50, flopped. Sold him I think bought him for like 38 million, flopped. Sold him for 50 million, did amazing. Bought him back for like 25 million. And I always remember looking at it thinking, the maths ain't mathing for me. The maths weren't mathing. So, yeah, look. Could it be money laundering? I don't know if I'd go that far, but there's something that smells a little bit fishy in terms of the money. It doesn't really make sense to me. Kudus is not a right winger for Arsenal. Look, Kudus could have gone to Arsenal and played in 3 different positions. Attacking midfield is number 1, but could cover that role. And I think if you turn around to Arsenal fans and said, look, you could have Mohamed Kudus. He can cover the left. He can cover the left. He can cover centrally. He can cover the right. And it's 50 million. I think Arsenal fans would have taken that personally. Just my personal view. This Noni deal makes no sense. He will need a break after the Club World Cup. So when does he actually integrate with the team? Unlikely to be on the tour too. Crazy. It's also true. You're not really going to have him for a pre-season for integration. That's a great point there, Jatin Patel. It really is. Go Jen here says, we need open heart surgery on our attack, but we're putting a band-aid on it with Madueke. Come on, Arsenal, do better. and look, I just can't not but agree. Terry is a hater. The fact that he put the same Arsenal news before the Spurs news. Oh, I'm sorry, Romero. We'll phone in and have you say, bruv. Tell me what a hater I am. I've praised you for that deal the whole time. There we go. Ornstein said, we made no contact, no bid. You were also gullible. Well, this is the thing we do. I don't just listen to what one journalist says in any capacity. So Ornstein saying there's no contact, fair. Fabrizio is saying there is. Multiple other journalists and outlets are saying there's contact. A lot of the Chelsea sources are saying there's contact. I'm saying there's no smoke without fire. Whether there's been an official bid or not, I'm absolutely putting that out. But Romero, I will say this. Kudus to Spurs is the lead on our previous stream. It's the lead title, my friend. You can go there and click on it and go on the timestamps and look at what we said. Madueke bid is just to sign Gyökeres is a done deal. Bid is just to sign Gyökeres is a done deal. I don't know what you mean by that. No facts given. You're gonna have to explain what you mean. I'm very, very, very confused by your super chat. It's probably me. It's my stupidity, but I don't understand it. This is from Sa, who says, sign the other players we were linked to, and Noni is a good squad signing, but no people want to bend over early so they can say they were first. So let me read that again. Sign the other players we're linked to, and Noni is a good squad player, but no people want to bend over so early so they can say they were first. Listen, I would agree with you if this deal was at a lower price. I have to be really honest here and I still think he's again, but when you see the money, is he a backup signing at 50 million? Or is this more what Hussam has been saying, that you will get Eze, you will get Gyökeres, but Noni is the new wide player signing? Or maybe you're not signing anyone for the central attacking midfield area. Maybe Eze is going to be on the right and Noni is going to be back up on both sides, and you're going to move on Martinelli. But again, I don't think... I do agree with rejuvenating your attack. I'm not against Martinelli going, even if his replacement is of the same level, per se, right? As long as that level is at least his level or above, it's good to rejuvenate your front line. It's the money, bro. It's the money here. I think the money is a really important factor. I really do. Terry, you going to criticize the signing or Glazer because it's Arsenal? You've missed. See, the thing is, Jeremy Doku, is you watch every single one of my streams and you've seen me talk about Noni Madueke regularly, and I've said it's a bad signing. So I don't understand why you would even have to write that. I respect you. You're a good guy, but you've definitely watched the shows and you've definitely seen that I've criticized it. So that's like a weird troll thing to do. That's like a weird trolly thing to do, my friend. I'm not Romero. I'm okay. Sorry, I misspelled your name, but yeah, you're hating, so I'm not apologizing. Everyone becomes an accountant in case of Arsenal. I'm a Chelsea fan, but Arsenal have tried for Cunha and Kudus, and they rejected them for different reasons. They need good squad, so they have to pay what's available. That's fair. Look, but being an accountant's part of football. Part of being a football fan, because everyone has a limited budget. And if you spend £20 million too much on Gyökeres and £20 million too much on Madueke and £20 million too much on Eze and £20 million too much on him and her, you're right. We need that one last signing. Sorry, guys, the money's run out. You've got to be thrifty, and fans are right to challenge the amount it costs. Now, look, if you end up with Rodrygo, Eze, Gyökeres, Zubi, all these guys, and then you've got Madueke, I think it would. I think in reality, when that happens, it would change the way certain Arsenal fans see this. But I still think Gunners would be absolutely right to criticize the amount of money spent on him. I still think that's fair, because I think 50 million plus is too much money for a player of his ability, personally. This here says, Noni signing gives me Mount United vibes. Seems like an English signing for homegrown reasons, but I'm not sure. I read somewhere, and I haven't gone into more detail on this, he doesn't qualify as a homegrown player for some strange reason. Someone in the chat is going to know the reason because they've read the article. But I read something along the lines that he's not considered homegrown for some technical reason. Maybe the amount of time he didn't spend in the UK academies or something. Surely this means Mbeumo's price goes up now. Well, look, they've been asking for 70. Listen, Fabrizio was very, very... Again, this is the irony. If we're going to believe Fabrizio that a bid's gone in, then we have to at least give him a little bit of credibility. And he said that Brentford wanted £70 million for Mbeumo to begin with. There's talk that a deal including add-ons for £65 million will get him over the line. So it's not exactly going up from the original days, the original amount. So, yeah, I'm not too concerned. I know that Staffy and a few others are panicking that because Spurs now want Wissa, the deal will be over. It could happen. Again, not denying that. But, again, this deal doesn't make me worry about the Mbeumo deal. What I have spoke to 4 or 5 different journalists about is, are they increasing the price every time we're negotiating? And the answer's been no. It's more about structure. United want to spread the payments over a longer period. Like Brentford want all the money within 2 years. United are trying to get it for at least 3 or more. Which, again, is really important for the complete rebuild of this squad to lower those payments, spread them over a longer period of time. So, yeah, I'm not personally worried about that one. But that's just me. Every United fan or every football fan's entitled to their own opinion and views. People do see these things differently. So welcome to everyone who's here and joining us now. We're going to start taking your calls in a few moments. The link, as I say, is in the live chat. If you want to phone in, if you want to have your say, really look forward to it. Oh, wait, is there a Fabrizio update here? Oh, just on Trent. Oh, Trent's out of the squad tonight due to a setback in training. Trent is out of tonight's game. By the way, England's women, smashing it right now in the Euros. I was watching 4-0. I think Reece James got a hat-trick tonight, did she not? No, she got 2 goals. I thought she had a hat-trick. She got 2 goals tonight, but we're smashing it tonight. We needed that because we were really poor against the French a few days ago. I'm going to be joined now by Brandon, who's coming on to have his say on this deal. Remember, we're taking calls regarding Spurs. We're taking calls regarding Arsenal as well. So it'd be great to hear from you all. But Brandon, welcome back to the terrace, mate. Of course, there was excitement a couple of days ago with the Gyökeres news, but 50 million bid supposedly made. Some people are denying it. They're saying that Fabrizio's making it up. Isn't it funny how people pick and choose when they trust Fabrizio or not? It's so funny that. And by the way, that's people that are negative and positive towards all of our clubs. He's like, 1 minute he speaks the truth, the next minute he's a bullshitter. But what do you make of this, mate? I mean, it's 50 million. It sounds like it might get rejected and more will be needed to be bid. But what's your initial reaction to it, Bran?
Short-lived excitement, Tel. Let's be honest, because I didn't expect this to happen. Obviously, we know that Berta likes to negotiate for a number of players before choosing which one. But, I thought all along that Madueke would be a smokescreen for Arsenal in order to get another deal over the line. But it just shows that nothing's changed at Arsenal, to be honest with you, Tel. Nothing has changed at Arsenal, because I don't know what it is with this club. We're obsessed with signing other clubs' bums. I don't know. Somebody at Arsenal seems to think that he can resurrect careers. And I don't know if that's Arteta. I don't know if that's Richard Garlick or anybody else who we've got in charge. But clearly, they're not learning from their errors and their mistakes in the past, because how many Chelsea players have we signed that have actually worked out for us? You could say Jorginho was an okay signing, but the rest of them, let's be honest with you, Noni Madueke is not it. And I'm currently watching Tottenham getting an agreement with West Ham for Kudus, who's a much better player, for £5 million more than what we are currently bidding Noni Madueke. And I don't understand the logic behind Arsenal's thinking here. There is no logic here. And I've got to be honest, Tel, right? Now that I sit and think about it, I don't actually believe that Arsenal want the best in class. I don't believe that Arsenal are actually interested in going out there and getting the best players available in order to go and win the league title. Because now that I sit and think about it, it's looking like we're going to get Gyökeres. But really and truly, Is that because we wanted Gyökeres, or is that because we got priced out of a deal for Šeško? Because to me, I think it's the latter. I think the reason why we are going for Gyökeres is because we got priced out of a deal for Šeško. If Leipzig didn't price us out of that deal, I think Šeško would be the guy that we're going for. And ultimately, you know, it shows me that nothing's really changed at the football club. Nothing really, like, why would you pay 50, 60 million pound for Madueke when you can get Rodrygo for 10 to 20 million pound more? Why would you pay that for Madueke when there are other players available who are much better players than him that you could probably get for similar or maybe even less? So, and the fact that people keep saying, yeah, but he's going to be a backup. I don't want backups in this team. I want players that are going to push the starting 11 players, that are going to elevate them to new levels, that are going to help this Arsenal team. I don't look at Madueke and look at our current wingers that are available to us in Trossard, Martinelli, Saka, and Nwaneri. He's not better than any of them. So this signing makes zero sense to me. Absolutely zero sense to me. It's just Arsenal being Arsenal again, you know, and it's funny, really, because we're hearing today that we're kind of, you know, stalling on the deal with Gyökeres over the, you know, the sake of €5 million, but we can quite happily go to Chelsea and go £50 million for Madueke. Like, make that one make sense. Just pay the extra 5 million, get Gyökeres over the line, and go and get Eze, go and get Rodrygo. You know, sell some players, do something. But signing Madueke, really? Come on now. Like, we're not serious, we ain't. We're not serious.
Yeah, look, I understand the frustration with this, and look, I'm always open-minded. I'll always look for the silver lining in things and look for the other side. I think for this kind of money, I think you've got every right to be frustrated. And I suppose does a lot of it stem from that concern now that maybe there'll be a pivot of, well, after spending the money on Gyökeres and after spending the money on Madueke, is there that little fear amongst yourself and other Arsenal fans that maybe then the kind of news is briefed of, well, they've called their interest in Eze because they've made other signings. They're not looking at Rodrygo anymore because they've made these two signings. Is that the sort of fear that you sort of pivot away from the real exciting players that you're also linked to?
Well, let's just look at the history of Arsenal in the transfer windows, right? And we can go back further than, you know, under Mikel Arteta's reign. Arsenal, I can't remember a time in the last 20 years that Arsenal have gone out in the transfer window and got absolutely everything that they've needed. You know, even the transfer window where we brought in Declan Rice, we brought in Kai Havertz, and that hasn't, you know, kind of worked out. I've not known a single transfer window where Arsenal have gone out and got everything that they've needed. So, to me, you know, if you look at the history, I don't believe that Arsenal are going to sign Rodrygo and Eze on top of Madueke. I believe this is an alternative. This is somebody that Arsenal are looking at going, you know, we can't really go out and get, because if we go and do that, then you're talking about Arsenal spending in excess of £350 million. And I'm not saying that we haven't got the ability to do that, but Arsenal have never, ever done that before. So I believe that this is a signing that Arsenal believe, you know, is going to come in and be a success. And I believe that one of either Eze or Rodrygo or whoever it is, one of them positions will not get bought in this transfer window. You know, you'll probably see Madueke playing on the left-hand side. Because let's be honest, let's say he is coming in as Bukayo Saka's backup, and Arsenal Football Club have pretty much said to him, you know, you're going to be a backup to Saka. Why would Madueke come to Arsenal if he knows he's not going to get any playing time? I know he's going to probably double his wages. I understand that, but surely as a 23-year-old footballer, you're going to want to play as many games as possible. And he knows, or if he had some sense around him, he knows he's nowhere near the player Bukayo Saka. So if you're coming in as a backup for Saka, you're not going to get much game time because the manager loves Saka anyway and plays him consistently week in, week out. You know, I know we haven't really had a backup option, but we had Sterling last season and the manager still chose to consistently play Bukayo Saka and even bring him back from an injury, a long-term injury after surgery, rather than playing the options that he had available to him. So to me, I'm looking at Madueke and thinking, okay, he's coming in, but he's coming in on the left-hand side. And we've recently seen him being played for Chelsea on the left-hand side. So I think that's what's happening here, Tel.
Yeah, you think he'll be deployed on the left. Yeah, listen, I understand the fear. And there were quite a few people in the chat saying, be a supporter, just get behind the decision. And look, you know me, I'm quite a positive person even when it comes to my own club. But I understand the criticism. I don't think it's fair to slam people for being concerned about.
Do you know
this
what's
deal.
funny about that, right? People saying, you know, be a supporter and just get behind the decision. How many times have we done that? And then, you know, it come to the end of the season, we're sitting there going, do you know what? I supported the decision, but Kai Havertz ain't really the guy, is he? You know, it's the fake positive, you know, people that come out and give it all this fake positivity. You can be unhappy with a signing. That doesn't make you negative. You know, I think all these toxic positive gooners that just sit there and accept everything, like, come on now. You know, you can be unhappy with a signing, and you can, like, I see Egal losing his head about this Madueke signing. I don't blame him one little bit, you know, and that's one of the most positive Arsenal fans, you know, on social media, I would say. But, you know, there comes a point where you're consistently getting burnt all the time. You don't go near the oven anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. I don't get why these Arsenal fans, now that the bid's gone in, after days and days of saying no to Madueke, we don't want him, are all of a sudden trying to put a positive spin on this. There's nothing positive about it. You do realise this is going to affect Arsenal long term massively, because he ain't of the level, he ain't of the quality. You know, we need quality if we want to win this league. We're looking at Liverpool, they're bringing in quality. Man City are bringing in quality. And we're looking across the league and going, we'll go back to Chelsea for one of their bums. You know, a guy that they don't even rate. You know, I ain't seen a single Chelsea fan, apart from Don, who's going, I don't want Madueke to leave. And that tells you everything you need to know, really, doesn't it?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what Don has said publicly. I haven't seen his tweets, but in the group chats, he's just been celebrating the whole time you've been linked to him. So again, that tells you something. At the very least, it tells you something that Chelsea fans are very, very happy to see him go. And look, as I said before, what would this deal at 50 million? There are some reports that his wages aren't going up by that much, to be fair. What would soften the blow for you? Would it be still bringing in Jords and someone in the ilk of a Rodrygo? Would that lessen the blow because you've still covered all the positions and holes you need? Or is there nothing that can soften this blow for you personally?
I mean, we spoke about this the other day. You know, if we get Rodrygo and Jords over the line plus Madueke, then you don't look at this as such a bad signing. But it's still hard to make sense of why Arsenal are willing to go to the lengths of £50 million plus for this player. So, you know, either way, when you look at it, yes, them three signings would soften the blow, but there's no need to go and get Madueke. I don't understand the need to go and get Madueke. And let's say that happens. Let's say we go get them three signings and we get Madueke alongside it. And then all of a sudden, because Ranieri's not getting the game time that he's craving, he decides, I'm not signing a new contract, I'm going to leave. You know, and then you look at that and go, well, that's even worse. And I'm not saying that's going to happen because I believe that Ranieri will stay. But he might be looking at this himself and saying, well, where am I getting into this Arsenal team? You know, I'm going to wait a little while, see what happens, see what we do in the transfer window, see how much game time I get next season before I sign a new contract. And I wouldn't blame the kid for doing that. But then you're looking at it again and going, okay, we've lost Ranieri, who's a better player than Madueke. It's like, I can't make sense of it. Egal, please try and make some sense of this, bro. Please.
It doesn't make sense. What sense is there? If you're going to go sign a backup for 50 million, you might as well get the main dish for 60, 70 and get it sorted right now. I know Rodrygo is still in the Club World Cup, and that's probably why we haven't gone in for him yet. And Eze, he has a release clause, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I think Arsenal need to go and bid for Rodrygo or Eze before they start spending money on Nani Madueke. You don't know what's going to happen come the end of the window. If you're short, you've spent your money on your backup targets, what's going to happen when you have no money left for your main targets? And this is really where we leave ourselves in a situation where we could shoot ourselves in the foot. And I don't want Nani Madueke as a starter. I don't want Nani Madueke as a backup, because that kind of money is not the kind of money you spend on a backup. For example, Mohamed Kudus is going to Tottenham potentially for a similar fee. If I'm not mistaken, Joao Pedro went for a similar fee to Chelsea. A bunch of these players that are going for 50 million tend to come into those teams and be starters. We now are going to be having two players going into next season that we would have spent 65 million and 100. So we would have spent 105 million on two backups from Chelsea in our season next season if we start the season with Eze, Saka, and Gyökeres, for example. That would mean Kai Havertz and Nani Madueke would both be backups, which you would have bought for a total of 105 million pounds. A waste of funds. And if you're telling me we're paying this money because of his wages being so cheap, then at least the transfer has to be reasonable. And 50 million might just be the add-ons. If the add-ons are 10 million, if the add-ons are 15 million, maybe then it's a little bit more acceptable. But 50 million is outrageous. 40 million, 35 million sounds more like what this deal probably would be if you exclude the add-ons. But hey, and I think this is coming from the Chelsea side. Why would Arsenal brief this to Fabrizio? And also, if Arsenal's going to brief this to somebody, they're going to brief it through David Ornstein or somebody connected to the club. I think Fabrizio is way more connected to Chelsea, and no coincidence, this might be coming from the Chelsea side saying, hey, preparing people for the possibility that Arsenal might bid 50 million for Nani Madueke. It makes more sense coming from the Chelsea side to drum up interest from other parties that might also be interested to try to create more money or more potential eyes towards this deal. But yeah, I don't want it. I don't think any Arsenal fan wants Nani Madueke. And anybody who does think Nani Madueke is coming in and they see the positives, they must also believe we're going to go pull off 2 or 1 of Eze and Rodrygo on top of this.
Do you think this impacts those deals? How much do you think it's going to impact the potential of Rodrygo and or Eze?
I think Nani Madueke immediately replaces one of them in the pecking order. I don't think we bring in Gyökeres, Nani Madueke, Eze, and Rodrygo. That would just be crazy if we think we're going to spend that much amount of money on the attack this window, especially with the money we've already spent across the team. Really and truly, Eze is going to cost us 60 million, 20 million installments first season. Then you got Rodrygo is going to cost you anywhere between 70 to 80 million pounds. And then Nani Madueke is going to cost us as much or maybe more than some of our other signings. He's going to cost us more money potentially than Zubamendi. There's no chance we're going to be signing Nani Madueke for starter caliber money. It doesn't make sense to me.
I hear you on that. Let's see what Shannon's got to say with us here. Shannon, obviously, I know you're not normally more on the positive outlook when it comes to Arsenal. How are you feeling about this deal? I mean, Berta has done some brilliant business so far this summer, but this seems to be a deal that is, and I mean this politely, Egal, if Egal's not happy, there's a problem, right?
So here's my thing. And I actually had a discussion with the guys now. If you're looking at Arsenal, right, how many players can you name in world football that would be an upgrade on Saka? Salah, Lamine, Rafinha. There's not many right wingers that you're going to get that are going to make Arsenal fans feel as if it's an adequate or a sufficient signing, in my opinion, right? So if you look across Arsenal's whole team, and I'm gonna tie it back into Madueke, Arsenal have gotten to a position now where we've got players of, I would say, world-class caliber across our entire team. So to upgrade on these players is very difficult. So when you're looking at someone like Nani Madueke, yes, it seems underwhelming because, again, people think he hasn't been performing at Chelsea, and for whatever reason, we're signing a Chelsea reject by some accounts. But my thinking is that you are bringing in a player who's only 22, and again, people are forgetting, Arteta previously was judged for bringing in David Raya. Prove them wrong as to why he brought him in. Same thing with Kai Havertz, saying, why would you bring in Kai Havertz? He's not going to make the team better. Instead of giving the manager prove themselves, be a bit. Is my connection?
Yeah,
Sorry,
your
guys, is my
Wi-Fi
connection
going a
okay?
little mad, bruv. Your Wi-Fi's moving like Berta. What's going on?
Okay. Let me try come back just now, guys. Let me try sort that out.
All right, mate. No worries. We'll come back to what you're saying in a minute. Egal, let's do a few of these super chats that have come in here. First one says they're going to sign Madueke and give him number 14. I mean, they wouldn't do that, would they? They wouldn't do that. They can't do that. Madueke will rotate with Martinelli at left wing, is what Nick Carter says.
No, that's not good enough. We simply cannot come out of this window without a proper left winger. And Nani Madueke is not a left winger.
Agreed. This here says Ethan to Chelsea, then I reckon Egal would lose it. I mean, yeah, if Ethan Nwaneri was to join Chelsea, what would your reaction to that be?
Ethan Nwaneri news came because some people were saying Ethan potentially could be sold, or sorry, Chelsea wanted Ethan, but Ethan wants to stay at Arsenal from the reports I read. And as an 18-year-old, getting 37 games and 1,300 minutes is not really like, oh, I didn't get enough game time. People need to calm down. He's 18 years old. He played 37 games and had over 1,300 minutes. That's not nothing. And he played in Champions League, Premier League, and the Cup games. So guys need to relax. There's enough minutes to go around.
I hear you on that. Kate's joined us. Kate.
Hello.
You've gone and got
Hello.
Kudus. You've gone and got Kudus.
We have. What's even nicer is we've gone and got Kudus on the day that they've got Madueke, which just makes it so much sweeter because Madueke.
Hey, we haven't officially been.
Well, you know it's going to happen, Egal. Come on. But anyway,
No. With Berta, we don't know.
We've signed Kudus, which I think is a fantastic bit of business. Finally, Daniel Levy doing what a big club does, going to get the job done, getting a really decent winger into the club. He walks straight into the first team, makes us better, and probably becomes our best attacking player, if not our best player. I think he's that good. So absolutely delighted today. Feeling very happy.
Yeah, look, and it's, obviously you wanted in Burmo, didn't happen, and there's Semenyo ended up staying because he was priced out of a move. There was the Eze links, but you've ended up still, all that being said, with a fantastic player. And I agree with you, walk straight into the team. I think even when everybody's fit, I don't really look at his numbers at West Ham this last year and go, oh my God, he only got I think he got like 8 or 9 GA. Some people say that's too much for a £55 million player. I don't mean it rude. I'll probably get jumped by West Ham fans one day for saying this. He just got bored playing at their Tin Pot club. That's all it was. I think he just, I'm being a bit facetious. I think he just got disillusioned with being there. I think personally, under Frank as well, under Thomas Frank and the balance that he brings, this is bad news for a lot of rivals. This can be a fantastic bit of business for Tottenham. It really is.
I think so, for sure. I agree. I think even when we've got all our players fit, he still walks into the team. There's rumours now that we're looking at Wissa. Now, I can't see Brentford letting both Wissa and Mbeumo go. So that's interesting to see what's going to develop from there.
Yeah, I can, you see. See, for me, I know a lot of United fans will panic and a lot of rivals, oh, you might not get him. I can see him letting both go, but it's going to be for big money. I've said this all summer, and I'd love Man United to not be involved in the middle of this deal because people always think you're being biased. I've said a lot. I mean, they've done very well, Bournemouth, to keep Semenyo, but I think a lot of those clubs that sit in that sort of 7th to 15th, I felt like a lot of squads are going to get ripped apart this summer. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vista goes with or without Mbeumo. It just means you lot are going to have to pay top dollar, and they're very hard to negotiate with. Do you know what I mean? But I also think he's worth it, though. I think he's worth 60, 70 million pounds. I really do.
Well, I mean, Terry, there's a lot of people saying today, a lot of Tottenham fans, a lot of media saying that the Mbeumo deal Tottenham might go in with another bid. I don't know whether that's going to happen. I'm not going to comment. We'll have to wait and see. I'm just so happy that we've got a Premier League proven guy. And yeah, Kudus was awful last year, but that's because West Ham are shit. They are a shit team. He's absolutely wasted in that team. The meltdowns on Twitter from West Ham fans is absolute class today. saying that he's gone to the scum. They're not even our rivals, you know, but they're trying to be our rivals. They've got to understand he wants to go to a better team. He wants to go to a club in the Champions League, a club that won a European trophy last year, and he wants to try and better himself. And I really think this is going to prove to be a really good signing. I think the way Frank plays, I think Thomas Frank, I'm starting to get really excited about the new season. I really am. I was a bit umming and ahhing, but I've got a really good feeling about Thomas Frank. I watched him in training. You know, he's got a proper sort of, he's brought all his coaching staff, he's brought medical staff with him. Everything just looks a bit more normal at Spurs, and it looks like the players are being coached properly, and the training looks more intensive, and everything just looks a bit better at Tottenham. So it's good. Today is a good day to be a Spurs fan.
I just seen Arsenal fans have a signed petition with 500 signatures or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not like against. I said it all along. I'm not against Arsenal fans doing that. At the end of the day, I don't know. We have seen deals stop with fan outrage before. I can't remember what one. There was one a few weeks ago that they said it was because of outrage that stopped. It wasn't in England. It was in another country. But there's been a few deals before, and I don't remember them off the top of my head. But I just like got faint memories of fan bases going mad and clubs kind of pulling away. You've seen before when, you know, United, which I know completely different set of circumstances, but when United were thinking of bringing Greenwood back, there was mad outrage in the club. Went, whoa, we're not going to do that. Maybe that's what Arsenal need here is a bit of full-on outrage, and just to let the club know, listen, you guys are making them. I want to know what they see, though. I want to know what they see compared to 99% of Chelsea fans and 99% of Arsenal fans that all think he's nowhere near good enough. That's
you know what they see, Terry? They see somebody who's going to come in and be on 50K a week wages. And they're saying to themselves, can they get a better player on 50K a week wages?
Yeah, because I've heard the wages are going to be quite low still. Is that right?
Yeah, he's going to be our second lowest paid player.
Yeah. The only way this ever makes sense, and I'm going to get so much stick for saying this, is if we start seeing on a regular basis now players of this level all going for 50, 60 million. If 50 million becomes the new norm for players of this level, then maybe it'll one day be looked at as kind of normal. But equally, when you're getting Kudus for 55, when you're getting Mbermo for low 60s, when you're getting, I mean, would you prefer a Elanga at 55 million? If I could offer you a Elanga now at 55 million, would you take it?
Elanga's a better player, but he doesn't suit the way we play.
That's fair.
We're not a counter-attacking team, where Newcastle, it makes sense for them to sign him. They're a counter-attacking team. Arsenal, we need somebody who's a little bit more, who can play when the game's slowed down. I just don't think Elanga suits us. I wouldn't want either, to be fair.
Is it true that Arsenal could spend 230 million before PSR comes in?
Yeah, we have no issues with the PSR. We have players we can sell, and we have around we currently 95 above the threshold, so we could easily spend up to 200 without any issues.
I'm only asking because if you spend that sort of money on Madueke, say you do that deal, you know, Arsenal fans are wanting Rodrygo to come in, they're wanting Gyökeres to come in. Don't you think that money could have been better spent?
100%. You prioritize on Rodrygo and Eze, and then if you have money left over, you go and get whatever you want afterwards. I agree with you. Where I think what they're doing is they're lining up all the deals. So when it's time to pull the trigger, Nani Madueke's deal's ready there. And I don't think it's a situation where they're going to actually start bidding for deals. What Arsenal's been doing lately has been lining up all the deals, kind of figuring out what the prices are, figuring out personal terms, having multiple things working at the same time. And as much as people might be against this, even though it's gotten this far, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we've just done this to do our due diligence, and we're not actually going to sign him yet. We're probably going to wait and see what happens with the other deals before we pull this trigger on this one.
Could be true. Kate, thank you for coming on. I'm going to be bringing Jords on now. Can I get through on the screen at once now? I'll chat to you again soon, Kate. Thank you, darling. Take care. See you later. Durag Diaries, man like Jords is here with us. How are you, mate?
I'm very good. I'm very, very well. I mean, one thing I will say, and Terry, because we spoke about this on Monday, Now that's how you get a deal done. So I'm just saying, 9 days was that what between the first time the news broke between Kudus and Spurs having some interest and getting a fee agreed. I saw a counter today on Twitter, 36 days, 12 hours, something minutes since you guys made your first bid and Ornstein released the news. But we're doing some good business, innit? Quite clearly, we're doing some good business. Hey, my man Jacob. It's good to have Jacob up here as well. You know, the two Spurs fans that are always singing our praises. We're making some good moves, and it fills me with confidence. I'm not going to lie. Kudus, a really, really good deal. £55 million. I can't lie. It's a strong deal. Going down from that £85 million release clause. Considering they're one of our rivals, and we heard there's going to be a Tottenham tax per se. I don't know what tax there was because they rejected a £50 million bid to accept a £55 million bid. So seems like they seemed rather desperate. We saw the news come out that they needed to have money in before next week. And hey, Daniel Levy thing done, and he got us a good deal. A solid one at that, man.
It must feel nice as well getting him off West Ham at such a low price. I heard they were turning down bids of 80 million a year ago and asking for 100 million. And, you know, you've ended up getting him 55 from, you know, the best, well, barring Bowen, the second best player at West Ham, cut price. That must also make it feel a little sweeter.
Definitely. And we have a good record signing players from West Ham. Whenever we don't go there often, but whenever we do, there's always solid players coming through. So, like you said there, to get the deal done for the price that's been quoted, it shows that we've fleeced them, and I'm seeing that you've had these group of West Ham fans that will tell you, "Oh, Kudus was rubbish last season," but then at the same time, you've got the rest of them that are trying to do protests about this deal. Kudus the Judas, they're calling him, and I'm here for it. You know, I'm on the other side of it now. And it feels good. It feels good. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet it does. Jacob, how are you feeling about it, mate? Obviously, I was saying to Kate, it's been a bit of not a turbulent summer. I wouldn't use those words, but, you know, a number of players you've looked at, Eze and Burmo, etc., that you could Semenyo, and for one reason or another, you couldn't get them done. But you've ended up with what I believe to be a real stellar player.
Oh, absolutely. Apologies about the audio. I'm here with the kids, but I'm too dang excited about Mohamed Kudus. I can't lie. When West Ham originally signed him for less than we signed Brennan Johnson for, I was very upset and I was very salty, and a lot of other Spurs creators had to console me about that. So the fact that we've got him damn near around the same price as Brennan Johnson is fantastic. And there was something you were talking about, I think, in regards to Arsenal earlier about the price tag of average players being that 50 million-ish. And I think it's pretty close to that already, if not, because at least from a Tottenham perspective, you look at Richarlison and Brennan Johnson, two forwards who no one wants to start for us. I mean, 60 and 55 respectively. I think that the price has gone up in that regard. But in regards to Kudus as a player, I think he instantly joins and becomes our best dribbler of the ball. I think he instantly comes in and is our most dangerous forward. Maybe not in front of goal or in the final third, but as far as taking a man on with the ball, runs in behind, beating multiple people, I'm just so excited. This is a player, again, that I've admired for some years. I was pretty upset when West Ham got him. I was pretty salty myself. So it's very nice to see the other side of the steak being flipped here with these West Ham fans. I was on Lawless's channel earlier. He had about 600 people, and I think it was about 580 Tottenham fans in there. You're salty. It was fun. I was having fun. I was joining in too.
I bet he is. It shows, he's in the group chat. He's in the Straight Facts group chat, and he's not happy. He's not happy. I was just going to check then. He ain't happy. No, look, it's a really good bit of business. And look, I always say this as well, like, I wish I wasn't a Man United fan saying this, because, again, people, you're just deflecting. But it's true. Sometimes you can go from feeling desperate about the transfer window to being over the moon in the space of a few days. Equally, what you spend on players, your perspective may change based on what other players cost and what other teams spend and what they get for that money. Because I agree with you, getting Kudus for 55 million, when Kudus for me is better than Elanga. I know Elanga had better output this year, but I put that down to the structure and the system in that team he was in was better. Put Elanga in that West Ham team, that disorganization, I don't think he performs in the same way. When you consider that Elanga's gone for 55, Madueke, if he goes, it's going to be the same price. To get Kudus at that level, I'm even looking at Cunha and Mbeumo with their output and their quality and thinking low 60s again, it's starting to look like a much better deal than maybe you initially think it is. And I get everybody has their own personal feeling of, well, how much is a player worth? How much do I think they're worth? But then you have to look at it objectively and look at the market. And I think when you look at your deal, it represents fantastic business all round. I think he'll score a lot of goals. He'll create. He'll be a thorn in the side. And when you eventually get Kulusevski back, I mean, them two, the way you could utilize them, and it doesn't really matter, one starts in the 10 or one starts in the right, the freedom and the interchange they could have could, for you, like, it's beautiful. For me, it's disgusting.
Another thing you mentioned, too, was how bad the window started. We got denied by Rooney Bardigi, who ended up going to Barcelona. We got denied by Leroy Sané. We were getting denied left and right. And I was like, dang, Thomas Frank pull looked a little dangerous, like a mayonnaise sandwich. And now it's like 55 million, you're getting a player that obviously you know, for me, I know that I've seen a lot of people kind of 50-50 on it. There's some West Ham fans who think, yeah, he'll be good for a game, then he won't be good for 10 games after that. We've got plenty of those. And I do agree with you in the sense of the structure at West Ham was a lot different. I mean, they sacked and hired a new manager in the middle of that season. They're not playing Champions League ball. They never played Champions League ball. That I've learned that from Lawless today. And apparently Tottenham fans are embarrassing because we're happy about Kudus playing Champions League. You know, let the man go. Free Kudus. He wants to play in the highest competition you can in Europe. And these West Ham fans are upset that we're going to help him do that. And I understand. But for me, I just think that this is a guy, again, instantly comes in, has to start, not only has to start, but becomes the most dangerous player with the ball at his feet. I'm through the moon with this signing. You get a visa, you get a six, the defensive midfielder. I think we're good. I think that's a good window. That's perfectly for what Frank wants. And the names that you've also mentioned, Kudus is the one that I wanted over all of them. So for me, this is just kind of the perfect situation.
That's exactly how I feel, Jacob. Because, like, you know, when Terry said that, you said Semenyo, you said Eze, Mbeumo. Apart from Mbeumo, because I'm not going to lie, Mbeumo's just, I think, probably the best.
Yeah, it's hard to deny his output.
It's hard to deny Mbeumo. Yeah, it's probably the best right winger in the league last season, barring Salah.
Yeah.
I think away from him, I was more happy about Kudus. Just looking at the profile, the signing, what Spurs need. He's the perfect one. For me, I look at him and I say, he's the player that could become Mbeumo, because you look at what Frank's done with him over the years, 4 or 5 years he worked with Mbeumo and Visser as well. And steadily, year on year, they all got better. They both got coached.
Well, but why not better? Because
got better.
George, where was
Mbeumo? Wait, why? What's his name? Oh, Tommy the Trash Can. Oh no!
Hey, no, my little Tommy gun. Come on,
yeah,
now ain't no Trash Can Tommy anymore. Hey, we got
Kudus. Not Trash Can Tommy anymore.
In all realisticness, I've been very pessimistic and overly sarcastic for the greater part of 3 weeks in regards to Tottenham, Thomas Frank, and all that. But it's instantly got me back. I'm hyped. I'm so excited for the season. I don't care that it's Frank anymore. I don't care if we sacked Ainge after, you know, achieving something we ain't achieved in 41 years. But whatever, I'll get over that part. I just think that this is something even fans like me who are still kind of, you know, not optimistic, not really looking forward to the season, kind of just going to go through the motions. This gives me something really excited to look forward to be honest. Because, again, his days at Ajax and even what he did at West Ham in a very poor West Ham side, you just look at the versatility. He can play on the left, the right. He can play in the 10. I think even West Ham threw him in that striker there a little bit, him and Bowen. So I think this is just an all-around great signing for Tottenham, and especially for people like myself who weren't necessarily overly positive or overly hyped for the season. Now we got something really, really beautiful to look forward to. And I just hope we get another of this level or in and around this level of signing, because, you know, we announced Koto Takai, which I've lamented. He's the Japanese Virgil van Dijk. And number one, when you look at all his stats compared to other J-League U23s, that's just a specific, though, that he's the Virgil van Dijk of Japan. And I love that. So, but we need more of this type of signing, and I think there is
that. But I also think what you've got to factor in, a lot of your players' levels are going to increase next year, because I think you've got a better Premier League manager, a manager that understands the Premier League, will adapt depending upon who he's playing. Brentford are always defensively sound, but have great counter. So as long as you add the speed into your attack, and Visser and Kudus are that, you've already got Son as an example, and Solanke's no slouch, Brennan Johnson. You look at the way you're going to play under him, I think you're going to have a very good season. I really, really do. I don't think. But say with United, I don't think either of us had the 15th and 17th worst squads in the league last season. I really don't. And you've changed managers. You bought well so far, so I think you'll have a good season.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what it goes back to, Terry? Again, something we spoke about on Straight Facts on Monday is getting these players in early. If you're going to get a marquee signing, I think you can get, like when we spoke about Arsenal, if you get a Norgard later in the window, nobody cares. It's fine when you get these players in. But when you get a big signing right now, you can see what it's doing to the fan base already. Like, it gives us that confidence going into the season already. You're like, okay, we've seen all these moves recently, the whole coaching team that's been hired, about 9 or 10 new coaches and staff in Tottenham. So it's like, okay, we're making the right moves. And then you see, marquee signing done 1 week after July. We all know our transfer window opens on the first
preseason game, Jords.
Before the first preseason, and not even that, we've just started preseason training this week. So he's pretty much going to go into preseason training next week, fresh with the team, get a whole 4 or 5 weeks.
Half our team ain't even there yet, too. That's what I'm saying. This actually shows intent from a club standpoint that we're moving a little bit different. And that's really all I've been asking for from that European win, which was to now do something with that and actually get players in for the new manager that he wants. He came out and said that this was a key signing for him. And I put it all on Levy saying, if you don't get this done, that's another failed manager, in my opinion. Because as much, whether anyone's opinion on Frank is this or that, it don't matter in regards to how this club will treat them. Look at Jose.
I'll tell you what I do like about the Kudus news is it might mean Chelsea come back in for, and this is the thing, Chelsea fans, and this is why as well, maybe it's just my way because I believe in tempting fate. Chelsea fans should maybe calm down a little bit when it comes to the element of winding up Arsenal, because they might come back in for Garnacho now they're not getting Kudus. So it's like, slow down. But what I don't know if you guys saw it. We were live, me, Hussam, and Mo, and one of our longest standing Spurs fans who's watched us for about 7 or 8 years put in a member chat and said, I really hope that Baldy hurries up with Kudus. We read it out. The second I said the last word, Kudus out, Ornstein tweeted saying it was done. It was freaky. It was so.
You know what's even funny about that as well, because I had done my stream today, and my stream was, where are the signings? I was going mad. And all of a sudden, Kudus comes in, and I'm like, all right, sharp.
Nick here with a super chat says how quickly a fan base can change an opinion on a window. But that's one of the only things to me, and it's just maybe, I wouldn't say it's a fear of being clipped up, because I get clipped up every day. I get put by KJ of all people, and I pay him to clip me up. But it's this element of, maybe it's my age. I'm just someone that doesn't like to show my hand. Even if I'm feeling something, I'm like, I'm going to keep it in a little bit, right? Because you said earlier, you've seen that count ticker now that United fans are putting out, like 36 days. It's Man United fans who started that. It's like, you're creating rivals, you're creating the banter for rivals to attack us with. My view is keep your powder dry. That's all it really is for me. Kudus is a great signing for Spurs. Arsenal, well, you'll never walk alone. Congrats on Kudus. How's Romero looking, is what Sar says here.
I've seen news saying that he's not going anywhere. Nothing's been agreed. He's not. All the news. Atletico Madrid are pretty much going to give up at this moment in time unless he forces a move out.
I actually think if I was to get in his ear right now, I'd say, listen, give it a year under Frank, see how you feel. I honestly would say that to him. I think he could be, hello, little one. I see a little in there. Just see these little eyes just appear. My kids come in and do that. I just see these little eyes appear. Garnacho to Chelsea, Watkins to United. That's Nick Carter, who's actually a Chelsea fan. Listen, I'd take Watkins. We ain't getting anyone better than that. And listen, to have 3 of last season's top 8 top 8 scorers in the Premier League in our team, I wouldn't moan. Aboud here says, people saying it's all on Arteta, but I don't believe he is dumb enough to shoot himself in the foot knowing this is a do or die season. KSE need to go. Yeah, look, I think some of it's on it. Like, I look at this, but I don't think Berta's in complete control. I don't think Arteta's in complete control. It's been very well documented. It's a debate and it's an argument, and as a collective, they're making this decision. And I think you'll know by the results of these players they bring in. If they bring in players and they're bad, but the board back Arteta, that's maybe an indication. I mean, it could be an indication he's in control. Fair. It could also be an indication, shit, mate, we messed up. We should have listened to you. We bought duds. Yeah. I think it's about being open-minded when that happens, but there's definitely pressure on him. I'm a United fan, Terry. Oh, thanks. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of a different Nick. There's a different Nick. Is Nick something else? It's not Nick Carter. It's a different Nick, but he has the same N with the pinkish square. So sorry, I thought it was him. Maybe his name is Nick Carter as well. You know.
Oh,
Anyway.
Backstreet Boys has a guy in their band named Nick Carter. So.
Yes, Nick Carter. Absolutely. Look, I'm sorry to everyone else who's backstage. I've got no more time for any more callers. So I'm very, very sorry to everyone who's waited. My sincere apologies. We're back live after the semi-final tonight. So if you want to join us, we'll be live after that game. Jords and
Go PSG.
yeah.
Go PSG. Need them partying, need them drunk, need them tired. Because when we see them in the Super Cup, that's Thomas Frank's first trophy. Come on.
Listen, everyone who's called in today, thank you. Our super chatters, you're amazing. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.